Hello, welcome back. So we're finally ready to begin researching in earnest. This is where things get exciting. So let's jump right into it. Now in Skill 2.2, this is where you learn about the different types of secondary authority and which is the best one. We're going to choose a treatise because it's written by an expert and it's right in the sweet spot between the breadth and depth of coverage. So we're going to choose that. Skill 2.3 talks about how to find treatises, because when you first start out as a law student and then as a new attorney, you don't know what's out there. And so you need some help, and the research guides do that. So let's look here at Cooley's library's website. You can just go to cooley.edu/library. And if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a link here for research guides. Now, all law schools have these. So if you're at a different law school, then just go to your library and you'll see the link for the research guides. If you can't find them, you can always ask the great librarians. Now, I don't see copyright law in the subjects here, so I'm going to go to intellectual property, because that's a broader category under which you would find copyright law. And I'll click on copyright. And then I found this in the list here: Nimmer on Copyright, a treatise on the law of literary, musical, and artistic property and the protection of ideas, by Melville B. Nimmer and David Nimmer. That sounds exactly what we want. And look what this nice librarian added for us. This often cited work provides comprehensive coverage of U.S. copyright law. That sounds perfect. And it's available in the library, but there's a nice note here that it's also available on Lexis Advance. So we are going to go into Lexis, and to find that, we're just simply going to type it in, Nimmer on copyright, and it pops up. So now we've completed Skill 2.3, which is to actively seek out our secondary authority. Now, there are many ways to search in secondary authority. We could go to the index, we could use the search bar, but we're going to go to use the table of contents because it gives us context for what the heck is going on. Because if we look at just the beginning here, the structure of U.S. copyright law, that's a great place to begin. Federal laws and profusion. This will tell us the governing acts. So under this section, we learned that there is the Copyright Act. So I then wrote that in our plan here. There is a Copyright Act. Even though we're in secondary authority, I wrote it under codified law. All right, and then as we scroll through the table of contents here, I see that under Chapter 13, infringement actions. That's exactly what we have going on here. So in this first section, 13.01, the elements that the plaintiff must prove in an infringement action. Well, that led me to this here. The plaintiff must prove ownership of the copyright by the plaintiff and copying by the defendant. Nimmer on copyright. I cited it there, but they also cited primary authority, so I put that in here as well. So there are the elements that the plaintiff would have to prove. Now, we're more on the defense side. We're trying to defend this action. So if we go back to our treatise and we go back down to 13.05, here's a section about the defense of fair use. And as we expand it out, we find that there are fair use factors. We find that there's a whole section just on parodies, which we think we might have. So as I read that section, that led to all of this law here. So I'm just going to show you, after we did the first step, we planned our research, and then we did the second step. I want to show you how much law. So this was our plan after the first step. And then finding Nimmer gave us all of this. So it gave us the elements the plaintiff must prove. it gave us the defense, the fair use defense, okay? And it gave us a whole bunch of law. We have this seminal case, Campbell. We learned it's seminal because the treatise author told us. We found this other case, Leibowitz and Henley. And these are both somewhat factually similar cases. So we got all of this just by looking in secondary authority. Now in real life, this took me about 2 hours to find all of this stuff. I spent most of that time reading. But you can see how wonderful it is and everything that it leads you to. So that does it for step 2. The citations are in the text if you want to go and look this stuff up for yourself. But the main thing was to find Nimmer, go to the first chapter, and then go to chapter 13, and then everything fell into place after that. And look, if we had to do this from scratch, it could have taken a whole day or a couple of days. But instead, the Nimmer authors just served it right up for us. So anyway, that's the beauty of treatises and secondary authority, and I'll see you in 3.1. Bye.